It feels so good to be able to run. Yeah, buddy. All day. We don't play. Yeah, buddy. 5 years ago, couldn't do this. Now I'm doing it. Man, look. 5 years ago, I ruptured both of my quadriceps. I thought it was over. I never thought I was going to be able to run, jump again. But man, even though it's been 5 years, I still was struggling going up and down the stairs, still couldn't run, still couldn't do lunges, none of that. But now I can do my squats. I can get down low, all the way to the floor. You know what I'm saying? What a way to go. You heard it from me, your boy Big B. Progress. Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Big B, man. Check it out, man. So I just want to say, actually, before I get started with this video, this is the video I'm responding to a lot of people who responded to me when I had my accident, when I ruptured both of my quadricep tendons completely away from both of my kneecaps. So I want everybody to click, subscribe, save, and share. So I want everybody to check this out, And so I just wanted to say that before I got started. It's been almost 6 years since I ruptured both of my quadricep tendons completely away from my kneecaps. I couldn't walk for like 9 months, almost 10 months. And that was one of the most depressing things that I've ever been through in my life. So I just wanted to get on here, man, and just, I had a lot of people, man, that really were reaching out to me during the time that I actually needed it. People were giving me encouragement, and telling me, man, it's gonna be okay, But one of the things that ended up happening, my wife told me, she said, hey, why don't you share your journey on YouTube? I said, why? She was like, you just don't know how many people that you may be able to help. Because after my injury, my wife, she started Googling double bilateral quadricep tendon ruptures. And she saw a lot of information that was on YouTube, not a lot, but, enough. Because I was, because of the fact that, this was a major surgery. And I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I didn't know what I was going to be able to do and what I couldn't do. But I will say that there are a couple of videos that we did watch on bilateral quadricep tendon ruptures. It was helpful. It was definitely helpful. It gave me a little bit more hope. And because when it first happened, man, I thought my walking days was going to be over. So man, it was a freak accident. A lot of people think that it had to happen in the gym, because that's Big B. Big B lift a lot of weights. Yeah, I used to lift a lot of weights, a lot of heavy weights. And so one of the major things I think that played a key role on my quadricep tendons rupturing is because of all the years of the strenuous, squats, leg press, and all that stuff, over time, I was 50 years old when this happened, and it happened April 30th in 2018. I know it was a while ago, but, I was just, man, I went through so much depression through this. If it wasn't for my wife, man, I don't know what I would have done. And that's just facts. And I see some people on these comments on YouTube talking about their injuries, and a couple of guys was like, man, I had to stay in the hospital because I couldn't go home because he didn't have nobody at home to help take care of him. And that's one of the things, man, that I was blessed with. I was blessed for the fact that, when it happened, my wife was there. Well, she wasn't there when it happened, but she was a phone call away, because I told her, I said, baby, I'm about to go to the Apple store. I got to go get my phone fixed. And it was late. It was like rush hour traffic, as far as like the cars and also the pedestrians. But the Apple store was only a 3-minute walk from my house. So I left out the door. I said, I'll be right back. Left out the door because I had a 4:30 appointment, and I was rushing, trying to hurry up and get there. And there was a lot of people walking on the sidewalks. They were taking their time because downtown Chicago, you all know, is very pretty. It's a beautiful city. So everybody's like taking pictures and sightseeing and all this stuff. So it was this one guy who was really moving. He was like, okay, I got to get there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to follow that guy. So I followed along with him, and he was moving. I was moving. He went left. I went left. He went right. I went right. And then all of a sudden, he came to an abrupt stop. Like, bam, he stopped. And if I would have taken another step, I would have knocked him into the river. But instead, I stepped to the left really fast. There was a small hole in the ground that my foot went into, twist my ankle. My body was going forward, but my knees was going to the left. And then on my way down, as I'm falling, and I could hear like the bones cracking. On my way down to falling, I tried to catch myself with my right leg, and my foot spent backwards. So I caught myself in a push-up position. Fortunately, I was in good enough shape to do so. And because other than that, I probably would have hit my head, and who knows what the outcome would have been then. So, but man, I saw the guy who was working on that in that area. It was a construction zone. He was coming out of the porta potty. And no, he had nothing over the hole. It was a small little hole, but that's all it takes if you twist your ankle, you know. So you guys probably have been walking and stepped on a little pebble and or rock and twist your ankle, like, ooh, that hurt. But this particular hole was maybe about that big that my foot went inside of because of the abrupt step to the left. And man, it was a domino effect. So this guy was walking out the porta potty as I was falling. And he said, oh my God, excuse me, sir. He was like, can I call an ambulance for you? And I'm like, no, let me call my wife, because I guess my body was in shock because I didn't feel no pain whatsoever. Zero pain. So I called my wife. I said, baby, I fucked my legs up. She was like, what you mean? I said, I can't walk. I said, I don't feel no pain, but I know I can't walk. She was like, where are you? I said, I'm right down the street in front of the Apple store, downtown Chicago. So, man, when I say my wife got over there in like 2 minutes because we were so close, she just ran out the door, running down to the Apple store to find me on the ground. And then she's thinking in her mind as she's on her way, she said, let me help you get up so we can jump in the cab and go home and put some ice on it. And then she started rubbing my leg, and she felt my femur bone like trying to come out the skin. And she was like, oh no, we got to go to the hospital. So, man, it took like maybe a good 15, 20 minutes for the guys to get me into the ambulance. After they got there, my legs were still all twisted, and they wouldn't let my wife into the ambulance because they didn't want her to go into shock, or maybe something I go into shock and then she, have some type of response to that. But they couldn't put me on the stretcher because my legs was like twisted up. So they had to put me in this chair with a backrest, a seat, and then a leg rest at the bottom. And then once they put me into the ambulance, man, now when they picked me up off the ground, that's the first time that I felt the pain. And I screamed so loud, it was crazy. Man, it was crazy. So those of you who may be just tuning in, I'm talking about bilateral quadricep tendon rupture that I had almost 6 years ago. So when I say that when they picked me up, one guy held me underneath my arms, the other guy held my legs, I screamed so loud that no matter what city you living in right now, you probably could have heard me. I'm just joking, but that's how it felt. So then they got me to the ambulance, but they still couldn't move the ambulance yet, because I'm like, how come we not moving nowhere? They said because they couldn't move me in that chair that they put me in, because they need to get me on the stretcher so they can lock me in so I won't be, falling off the chair inside the ambulance. So they, what did they do? They finally gave me some morphine. Man, the IV, they put it in my arm and they waited for it to start working. So meanwhile, they was taking all my information. So the guy says to me, like, hey, how old are you? What's your birth date? I said 9/17/67. And so they were thinking that I was delirious because they didn't believe that I was 50 years old at the time. So this year I'll be 57, this year, September. So they did not believe me. So they opened the ambulance doors, and my wife was still outside waiting on them to let her in. After they got my legs twisted back around because the morphine kicked in, they let my wife in. So my wife got into the ambulance. They was like, excuse me, ma'am, how old is your husband? She was like, he's 50. So they really thought that I was kidding around, because she still had my identification and stuff, because I gave her my wallet while we were outside. So, but man, they were tripping like, oh my God, this guy's 50 years old, man. So that's one of the things, man, that, you know, I can really say that working out saved my life, you know. So, but man, I just wanted to jump on here, man, because like I said, a lot of people have been, you know, asking me questions. You know, they want to know how is my recovery going. You know, I'm able to do so much more stuff than I've ever thought that I would be able to. But I'm telling you, man, to the guys that don't have no support system, man, I'm reaching out to you, man. You know, hey, look, it's not easy. And one thing that I can give you some advice on is once you start your physical therapy, don't try to diagnose yourself like, hey, okay, that's enough. I don't need to do it no more. I'm good. No, it's been 5 years and I'm still feeling the pain when I do certain things. It's gotten a lot better, but when I do certain things, I still feel the pain. And mentally, it's going to change the way you move around. Because if I see a large crowd coming towards me, it gives me anxiety. It makes me nervous because I don't want nobody to bump into me because my stability is still not as, you know, as strong as it used to be. It's not where it used to be. So when I see some people coming towards me, I get super nervous. You know, I get really, really nervous when people get behind me, when I'm going down the stairs, I get nervous, you know. And when I first got home from the hospital, well, before I even got home from the hospital, so surgery, it took them absolutely too long to get me into surgery. I feel I couldn't go into surgery until like 3 weeks after the actual injury. So they had me in these braces that were like styrofoam. I don't know what kind of material, like neoprene. You know, they were real sturdy, but they stretched. So, and they had these metal rods in the back of them. So the friction of the metal rods made the back of my legs turn completely black and red, you know. So, man, and so when they finally got me to the surgery, day one of the surgery, they gave me all the pre-op stuff and all that. One thing that they didn't do, and I felt like they should have did, because I'm looking at some of the guys' comments on YouTube about their surgery, how they gave them their nerve blocker before the surgery. With me, my prep wasn't like that for surgery. But when I was coming out of surgery, I remember them doing stuff to me and I was feeling it. And I said, I can feel it. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. I said, stop, stop, stop. There's no way that I should have been able to feel that, because they failed to give me the nerve blocker before they put me through the surgery. So I heard one of the doctors say, oh, we got to do another surgery. We got to take him to put the nerve blocker in. So they took me into a different room and then gave me the nerve blocker. Man. So I can remember hearing them talk. And even though I was still under the anesthesia, that pain that I felt at that moment was worse than the pain that I felt when they twist my legs back into place on the ambulance. I mean, it was crazy. So after I finally got out of surgery, they put me in the recovery room. I let my wife come in there. And of course, we couldn't drive home or anything like that. I had one of my good friends outside waiting on me to finish the surgery, man. This dude, man, I think we were there for like a total of 5 hours. And this brother, man, you talking about somebody that's in your corner. This brother stayed outside in his car, chilling for 5 hours. You know, so it was, man, it's good to have people like that, because one thing that, you know, like even with my wife, when we started getting home and we got home, I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't, man, somebody had to lift my legs from one side of the car, and somebody had to grab me underneath my arms. The person on the other side of the car had to grab me underneath my arms with both doors open in the back, because I couldn't sit in the front, of course, because my legs was locked straight. My legs could not bend at all, period. I was in braces from my hips all the way down to both ankles, and my legs could not bend at all. So somebody had to grab me under my arms, pull me inside the car as somebody held my feet and slid me to the back of the other side of the door. So it's some videos. You'll see them. You'll see them. Some of you guys have probably already saw them. But man, just moving forward, man, you know, it gave me a whole nother appreciation of my wife. You know, my wife, she had to be my comedian. I mean, she didn't have to be. She was. She was my comedian. She was my nurse. She was my doctor. She was my, man, she was played the role of my mom, giving me that motherly advice, even though she's much younger than my mom. You know, my mom lives in Georgia, so my mom couldn't be here in Chicago with me because she's going through her things that she's going through. So, you know, but man, my wife was so super supportive, and I had no idea what it was going to be like because I could not do anything by myself. I couldn't wash myself. I couldn't get into our own bed. I had to sleep outside on a recliner couch. It was one of the couches where when you hit the button, the legs come up by themselves. But while the legs were on their way up, my wife had to have my heels, my feet in her hands. And then as soon as the thing came all the way back up, then she would lay my legs down softly. So, man, this thing, it really does take a serious support system. And like I said, my wife, man, she was my comedian. She was my therapist. Man, she was the garbage person, and my wife ain't never had to take the garbage out ever in her life since we've been together for 14 years. And so that hurt me to see her doing that because I couldn't do anything about it. You know, it hurt me that I used to have to wake her up at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning so she can go empty my urinal that I had to sleep next to because I couldn't get up on my own to go use the bathroom. You know, and you know, these are the things that, you know, that we take our wives on to be there for us, and also for us to be there for them. So I'm just glad that, you know, it made her feel, you know, bad to see me for the first time shut down completely. I'm talking about completely shut down. I was depressed, but I was trying to play it off, and I was trying not to be so depressed in front of my wife. You know, I'm trying to act like I was, but she could see right through it, you know. And man, so this thing, man, bilateral quadricep tendon ruptures, it ain't nothing to play with. I'm still going through it. Some slight recoveries. I'm not 100%. I think if I had to rate myself, I'd say a good 87%. You know, 87% back to normal. You know, so I'm able to do, you know, man, this tripped me out because this just happened about a month ago. So being the fact that I ruptured my quadriceps almost 6 years ago, since then, I haven't been able to run, jog, jump, do any types of, you know, like Stairmasters. I haven't been able to do any of that in almost 6 years until a month and a half ago. I was walking to FedEx, which is like a couple of blocks away from where we live, and it was super cold outside. So of course, I want to walk real fast because I want to hurry up and get there, hurry up and get back home. And plus, when you're walking fast, you generate some heat. Downtown Chicago, cold. So I'm walking crazy fast, and I was walking so fast that it felt like if I would have just took a leap, I would have been in a slight jog. So I'm like, man, I said, I'm walking so fast. I said, I don't have no pain. I wonder if I can jog right now. So I'm like, okay, let me stop. So I stopped walking, and I looked at the street. I looked at the sidewalk because I did not want to run or attempt to jog if the pavement was uneven, because I didn't want to have another accident. That's the first thing that was going in my head, because I already told you what happened with the first accident. I mean, you know, when I got injured initially. So, man, I said, okay, here we go. So I'm like, ooh, I'm still nervous. I'm going back and forth like this. And then I said, okay. I said, here we go. So I started jogging, running. I only did it like 7, 8 steps. Then I got nervous because a little bit further, the sidewalk was starting to become uneven. So I stopped. I'm like, okay. I'm like, wow, I didn't feel no pain. I said, I'm gonna try this again. But this time, let me find a longer straightaway with no messed up sidewalks, and I'll run a little bit longer. So when I first did it, I think I ran like 8 to 10 paces. So I said, this time I want to run like 15 to 20. So, okay, I seen a little spot long enough for me to take another jog. And I'm like, all right, here we go. So I started running again. About 15, 20 paces. And I stopped because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm not supposed to be doing this. But really, I am supposed to be doing this. And that just goes to show you, man, that everything, all the stuff I went through, and I'll be 57 years old this year. It was not a waste. But there are some things that, I was doing for recovery. I was doing some band work. I wasn't doing enough of it. If I had and this is another thing I have to say to you guys who message me on YouTube, do the physical therapy, man. Because I've been a certified personal trainer for over 38 years, almost 40 years. And the way I train my clients, and I talk so much shit to my clients, but when that injury happened to me, I wasn't the best listener when it came to doing the recovery exercises. And I knew I needed it. I knew what it was for. But if my physical therapist wasn't standing over me, I wouldn't do it. So I wouldn't do it at all. Like the homework, they gave me homework after I got so far, once they started to loosen up the braces, once I could move around a little bit. And the homework, I think I did it like maybe 2 or 3 times at the most when I was supposed to be doing it every day. I would do it like maybe once or twice a week. And because it was boring, when you start working on those small stability exercises, which is more important than doing the bench press, which is more important than doing the bicep curl. When you start working on those stabilizer muscles, those things are so tedious, but the little small movements that you do hurt so much, because you have all the weaknesses, that are developed over the years of not the years, but the months of not doing anything, so that shit used to hurt with those bands and, doing the step downs, the step ups and all that stuff, man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's been through this bilateral quadricep tendon rupture, even with one leg, if, I know some of the guys that went through single leg quadricep rupture therapy, but some of the guys have gone through the bilateral. The bilateral, man, is on a whole nother level, but I just wanted to jump on here, man, because, I was reading the comments and, I was so down when it first happened. Like I said, my wife, she suggested that I do this because everybody is going through something, and somebody who needs this will see this. And it was just so surprising once I did that video, the first video I did about the injury, and how devastated I was. Man, it was so many people reach out that says, thank you for sharing, because your video saved my life. Your video gave me hope. Your video, man, let me know what I had to look forward to, and man, this journey was no joke, and it's still not over. And for all of you who may see this at a later date, if anybody else happens to have this type of injury, man, just stay tuned to all my videos, man, because you never know, who this may help. If you know somebody who's had this injury, share it with them. Tell them to subscribe to our channel, Live, Train, Eat, the Jenkins. So, guys, I just want to jump on here, man, and give you my progress, man. And I'm feeling great. Actually, I feel better right now than I did when I was in my 30s. So at the time of my injury, I was weighing 265 pounds. Right now, I've dropped down to like 200 and between 215 to 220. That's where I maintain right now. Because carrying all that heavy weight, that body weight, 265, 70 pounds, 265 pounds, and I ain't playing for nobody's NFL football team is a waste of is a waste of size. So right now, man, I feel like I'm in one of the best shapes of my life. I think I'll be 57 September 17th, and I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. So there is hope. Don't give up. Do your physical therapy. Stay the course. Listen to your therapist. If they say do the homework, because I would like to see your recovery much easier and much smooth than the one that I had because of my my man, I ain't gonna say it. No, because I didn't do my damn physical therapy at home. That's what it is. That's just the honest fact. I did all the physical therapy that I did at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab here in Chicago, and also at the East Bank Club here in Chicago. I went like consecutively for 6 months, doing that. So they got me back to walking, but everything else was still a chore. So guys, man, don't forget, comment, like, share, subscribe. And man, like I said, man, for those of you who've had this injury, I wish you all the best in your recovery. So, man, you heard it from me, your boy Big B, man. Thank you for all the support that you guys gave me when I was going through it, and if you have any questions, man, ask any questions that you want. I'll do my due diligence to be more active on YouTube. Like I said, I'll be 57. It took my wife, it was like pulling teeth for her to get me to get on any social media platform, but I didn't realize, man, how many people at the time when she told me to do these YouTube videos, I didn't realize how many people that I was going to actually help. I had no idea, man. So, man, everybody, man, I'm telling you, if you need anything, any advice about this type of an injury, don't feel, like you'll be bothering me to reach out. So that's it, man. I just want to jump on here. I know I probably was all over the place, man, but this wasn't no script. This wasn't none of that. This was just straight off the brain, and man, thank you guys for all your support. All right. Have a great day.